Ladies and gentlemen, live from the Boardwalk Stage, it's Between Two Palms with your hosts, Derek and Mikey.
Oh my God, here we are again on the Boardwalk Stage, live in between two palm trees. Myself, Derek, Clark, and my favorite co-host, Mikey Muscatello.
Your only co-host who screws up the recording and has to restart things, which is what we just did.
Did you just see me have a tantrum? Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
I know, but I hate when I do that. So,
yeah, well, you know what? I guess it wasn't just supposed to happen like that.
Could you imagine if we would have did a whole entire show and then an hour and a half later I looked down and said, oh, we didn't record any of that.
That was our mime show.
You guys could just watch us. You could just see us.
I know.
Say stuff.
We'd have to do another track. We'd have to do
like a voiceover.
A voiceover.
That'd be
yeah,
hilarious.
we'll have to do a voice, and then we could do funny voices then. But anyhow, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you that are tuning in and want to find out a little bit about what we do and how we do it.
People are tuning in.
Yeah,
they are. It's very cool. We do appreciate that. We did miss last week. We did miss a week because we're trying to do more episodes. And we had to take a week off because you were sick, and I'm glad that you were feeling better.
I had the vid.
You had the vid. You had the big COVID. The big V, and it put you down. This is your fourth time having that?
Yep.
My God.
Had Delta 19 twice when it was going around. I got it, and then it went away for 6 months, and then I got it again. And then a couple years later, I got the Delta variant. Oh. And then this time I got the kick your ass variant. It was
the kick your ass variant.
Listen, it put me down, but I'm smart enough to know that stay put, rest, don't get any people infected. It was a week ago last Saturday I started feeling symptoms, and I haven't fully recovered, but last Monday, was it Monday or Sunday? I tested negative.
Okay.
I tested.
So it would have been probably just this past couple of,
Yeah. Week. So really, it was hellacious. It was. I don't wish that upon anybody, but when you get it as bad as I get it, you got to seek, some medical help. And
so this, just for anybody who thinks, a lot of people like to say, COVID's just a cold or whatever. I think it impacts people differently. It depends on who you are.
I think the name COVID is whatever, but I think it's just like a super virus, whatever it is. I think that the more we do antibiotics and kill off one strain, something's coming back stronger.
For sure.
And it is true that if you don't take the whole course, you're just helping it get stronger instead of killing it. And don't go spread. Don't be spreaders. And if you don't believe,
that's the thing.
If you don't believe in vaccinations, you just don't believe in vaccinations. I wasn't a big believer of vaccinations, either the flu vaccination nor the COVID, but I fell in love with a lovely woman, and she just asked me if I would go and get a vaccination because she has two elderly parents, and I said, if I would take a bullet for you, then fuck yeah, I would go take a shot for you. So lengthen my life or shorten my life is the best it's ever been, and it's because of that woman. And the great friends and family and the employees. And again, I just want to give a shout out.
Oh yeah. Do it. You got to talk about this.
We were down and out. We were not even being seen for almost 10 days. And my staff, every single one of them, didn't matter if it was from Christopher Security, Ingrid at the front door, my management, the cooks, and the bartender, they made decisions we never knew about, and everything ran great. And
that's awesome.
And what that means is I don't have to be involved because they're making the right decisions. They are the greatest staff ever.
That was your goal from when I first met you. We talked about that. You said that your goal was to have a staff of people who care about the boardwalk and want to build the boardwalk and sort of take ownership in the boardwalk. And I feel like you're getting there if you're not already there.
We're getting there. We have a couple more other staff members to bring on by the time Palm Tree Brewing comes on, because we'll need a pizza chef for there.
Oh yeah.
And then we're going to have fresh pizza and other stuff here.
I can't wait for that to open up. And
then we'll have our beer back on tap. Not all the taps, but most of the taps and everything like that. But they just fucking wonderful.
Yeah, you got an amazing staff.
Yeah.
I've said it a couple times
Yeah.
on this podcast,
Yeah.
and I just want to be clear. I'm not just saying it because this is the Boardwalk podcast. These people are cool. They make you feel welcome. They make you feel like you want to come back.
Yeah, that's the goal is, the culture is that it's not just about how you treat them now. It's about inviting them back and wanting them to want to come back because they're going to get the same treatment.
Yeah.
So we do it for our live band. Our live band karaoke, we do it for music video bingo, we do it for our concerts, we do it no matter what the occasion is, we do it for the celebrations of life, the birthday parties, retirement, whatever we have here, the weddings, everybody gets treated the same.
You have celebrations of life here?
Yes.
That's kind of sad.
It's kind of joyous, though.
You
see
I
people
mean,
come
you're right.
here-
It is. You're right.
This wasn't the place like we're talking about the old Irish pub. You're gonna get all screwed up, and you're gonna whip some other glass over there.
Yeah.
With a glass or a bowling ball, whatever you got. But I know. But we've had celebrations of life here. Matter of fact, we had to where we had the band. It was just. Was it Bands of Distortion? No.
Waves of Distortion.
Waves of Distortion. Well, they did a little acoustical / metal thing called Undistorted when Glenn was alive.
Oh, okay.
That was, you see him up here as the bass player.
Yeah.
And he was withering away to nothing. And he wanted to play one last time at the Boardwalk.
Wow.
And he perished 10 days later.
Wow, that's
That
rough.
was rough. But when you have somebody that's been here several times, and then, we're all going to perish. Okay, you do it on your own terms or not on your own terms. But you if you want to have a celebration of life, it should be a joyous occasion. It should be something about, hey, what a great person, you know, and we want to feel that spirit and carry it on in our own lives. I think that's celebration's life. And they're supposed to ground you. They're supposed to say, hey, we're this close from homelessness and we're this close from perishing.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not, and I don't want to get all banged down about it, but I really appreciate people that would think of us as not only a wedding. We haven't had any,
so you should have somebody have a baby on the floor. Then you have a birth and you have a wedding and you have a death. So you could have it all.
We haven't had a baby. I don't think I think we did have a baby shower. I think we had a baby shower.
I bet somebody made a baby.
Yeah. I think we're responsible for a few babies,
You have a couple of kids.
I think there's a few patrons that actually come in here now that are of legal age.
That's
way
fun.
back in the day,
That's
the
pretty
parents.
funny.
Yeah. I think it was condoned. I think it was at this establishment. It was condoned at one time to make babies. But
I mean, why not?
yeah, now we're a little bit of the older crowd. And it's kind of nice. And we do have the younger crowd.
I was gonna say it's not totally the older crowd because I've seen pictures, I've seen events here, and it's everybody. It's
the young crowd is coming around. That they don't drink like we drank, but they do other things, and they don't eat like we eat. They do it, but it's just that maturity level, and it's probably also a pocketbook thing too, because of the economy
money, sure.
and what have you. But then you get the 45+ in here, and they're like, they're our best shows because they do the reminiscing and then they bring their kid in with them and they're reminiscing with their kid, so
which is great because then you start to build a whole new generation of concert goers and people who appreciate what the Boardwalk does.
And so, now I'm back at it and I've got a lot on the plate and I don't have as much, like I said, I don't have as much on the plate because my beautiful staff.
But does that give you, because you have such a great staff, but does that give you more time to focus on booking and trying to find those right shows? Like, so you also have people that work with you in booking, and I mean, I'm going to start trying to book some shows here as well. So let's talk about that a little bit. Where's your headed at there? Are you more focused there? Are you literally trying to pull yourself even out of that some too?
Eventually.
Okay.
I think there's still a little bit more guidance that needs to be about how it took me a couple years to understand the room and the economics and the area and the just the forecast on the bookings and just, working with the agents and their travel and just everything that happens on the routings, and they're all, it's very fluid. So there's no fast and easy way to know each and every one or each and every style of band or cost, but I do have a guideline, and it's a guideline that is understood by the Boardwalk only, because we are a very different bird than any other venue around.
Well, is it similar to do other venues do kind of like, well, why don't you walk us through that guideline, and then I can have this question. Like, I'm curious if how different does the Boardwalk do things compared to, another venue in town? Is it completely different, or is it still sort of the same idea, just different in the Boardwalk, with a Boardwalk spin?
Well, I think no matter what, I think if the band, if we make some money, the band makes money. And I think
that's important.
That's been, since we've taken over, it's been a little bit an uphill battle because the shutdown and some other things that happened here. When we opened up the door and we thought, and I know I've said this on a previous podcast, that, we thought we'd open up the doors and they would come.
Yeah.
But there were so many other options, so many other things going on that there's people still today that think that the Boardwalk is closed.
I know.
Or the people that know it's open think it's the same as it was before. And then once they get in there, they said it's not the same as before. So
and they're like, oh my gosh, it's totally different.
It is. It's different. So, man, it was a big understanding. So our grassroots efforts and our marketing and our stuff were open. And we went from like literally 50, 60 people showing up to 70 people showing up, 80, 90, so in order for us, we're about a 130, 135 on average. It's not a great number. We want to get to 240 plus. But in order to keep the ticket prices right, and affordable, we had to scale at about 170. Okay. That's kind of our sweet spot. And what all I mean by that, if you take the cost of the band and the cost that it takes to produce a show, which it's not just your engineering and your door person and your security, but also the marketing that you do, and anybody else that you have, then the booking agent and that kind of thing, and you kind of put that all together and say how many hours divided by their time versus the cost of the band, and you come up with that. If it's the easiest thing is a completely all general admission, because then you just divide that cost by 170 and you get what your basic ticket is going to be.
Okay,
and you round up to the nearest 1,000.
Sure. Yeah,
I just wanted to be listening to me or not.
Of course I am.
And you round up to the nearest buck or a buck or two, and everything's a la carte too, because there's a ticket fee because a ticketing agency gets that, and then you have the back end fee for the service charge to run that credit card. So there's a couple dollars added to that, and then you have sales tax that you have to add onto that. So everybody's thinking, oh, you charge crazy fees. It's a ticketing fee, which is typically $1.50 on a show, and then you're talking about.
But that's buying the ticket in advance, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So you can avoid ticketing fees by buying your ticket at the door.
You can.
Okay.
You can avoid almost all the fees that we'll absorb at the door. If you use a credit card, I can't absorb the sales tax.
Okay.
So it's going to run through our system, and you're going to get a sales tax fee. There would not be a fee for the ticket, but there will be a fee for running that credit card through the National Debt Society, back through Visa and back. So you can cash at the door is king. We'll pay those fees. There won't be any Visa or MasterCard fee. We will pay the sales tax fee, and then it's just a flat fee for whatever it is.
That's great. There you go.
So but if you do come to the door and you do have a credit card, you're going to get hit with that intercontinental transit fee. There's
nothing you can do about that.
Nothing I can do about that, right?
Everybody knows that.
But you can completely avoid it by bringing cash at the door. However, hopefully one of these days you will never be able to come to the door and get a ticket because we'll be sold out.
Yeah, that's the plan.
We'd love that. That's the goal.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But I might always hold out a few tickets anyway for
just
somebody
in case.
wants to. I hate turning anybody away, but I'm not gonna impact the fire marshal either and get shut down. But
for sure.
So back to that. So if you took that and it's a $25 fee for a GA because what you're spending on the band and what you're doing that's the fee that you start with. So we want to sell 170 tickets to break even. Okay. And then after that, we'll make money. And then if we hit 240, that's when we did this on several shows. That's when we'll bonus the band.
Okay. So, all right. So if a band can get 240 people in here, they get a little bit more than what's
They'll get a little bump.
That's nice.
They'll get a little bump. a new band isn't just worth gas money. If they're putting in the effort, and a supporting act isn't worth okay money, and then the act that's doing the show, the headliner getting all the money. I don't believe in that. The headliner gets their fee. We talk about that, and then everything else is kind of open book. We want to pay per ticket sales. We want to pay bonus on overall on the efforts that we're doing too, that we want to pay them on. We just want to get that spot in between 170 and 240 because we know that we can pay our bills and there's a little left extra for charity.
Which is what you're doing.
That's why we do that. Anything over than that is gravy that we want to give away to help the bands. Some work out, some don't. You mean you can be mad at me or happy with me? It's one or the other. But the numbers don't lie, and everybody. And I know people get, and I think Troy said it best yesterday. It's ticket fatigue.
Ticket fatigue. What does that mean?
I did not know until we started. Ticket fatigue is when you have a band that have played, I don't know, a dozen times throughout the year, and they had to sell tickets. And by the end of the year, they got ticket fatigue.
They're done. They're done. I've sold enough tickets. I don't want to do it anymore.
We sold enough tickets. Holidays are coming.
Yeah.
Let's start next year.
Which makes sense. I mean, that's where we're at right now. We're at that time of year where it's like, it's almost the end of October. We're moving into, it's going to be the holidays and stuff. So there are a lot of bands that are just like, I'm tired, man. I'm tired.
Bullshit. I call bullshit on that. You know why? Because we're tired too, but we're out there doing it every day.
The game doesn't stop because you're tired, buddy.
Game does not stop. And the successes that are out there in the music business, they did not stop.
Yeah.
They had the right formula. Could have been pounding the pavement. They could have got the right agent. But they did stuff to open up those doors to get their foot in and keep proving merit to where they wanted it that bad. Now, if you don't want it that bad and you want to be a little tribute band, if you want to be, and I'm not hacking on tributes because there's some great ones out there that are national touring.
There's some that are doing incredible,
like Van Halen. Love those guys.
Bad Fish, that Sublime cover.
Oh my
band.
God,
incredible!
I know.
I saw them here actually.
But they're willing to. You'll see their marketing. You'll see their stuff. They're out there doing it. Shout out to Scotty Austin. We were sick. We missed Scotty, and he said it the best. He just said it the best. He said, "We've sold out." When he was with Saving Abel, they sold out stadiums, and they had a really great lineup of people that came here. He did marketing. We did marketing, and he said be happy you're in the game.
Yeah.
One person comes to see you, you perform like there's 1,000 people because that one person is important.
Absolutely.
But if you think that there's only 10 people in the room and you're going to get a half-ass you're going to do a half-ass performance, then they're going to tell another 50 people what a piece of crap that was.
Yeah, that's totally ego-driven.
He's been around a bit, and he was just like, hey, I'm just happy to play. I don't care if there's 10 people. He was playing overseas to smaller rooms in the Philippines and England and these little Irish pubs and all this stuff. And there was 50 people in it, and they're all rocking and having a good time. And he's having the time of his life every time.
Because he's doing what he loves. I think
it.
That's what people need to understand too, is if you're doing what you love, it doesn't matter who's there. There's 3 people there that are enjoying you, and you play like it's for fucking 1,000 people, 10,000 people. You get out there and you play.
The only problem is you.
Exactly.
That's it. You get in your own way. I always say to people that have talent. I said this to a young lady not too long ago, and I don't know if she quite received it well. I said, you need to get out of your own way. You need to make yourself special. You are special, but you're not making yourself special. You're diluting the interest by playing every place, every weekend.
I know who you're talking about.
So, and she's so fucking talented.
Super talented. Incredibly talented.
And she'll go play for $300. She'll go to a winery. She'll play every single weekend. And you know what? The real lesson is, don't you think that it'd be better to play once a month and then work on your craft and albums and recordings and stuff like that, and then take that out the next month and the next month and develop the skill versus playing every single week, diluting your interest? Wouldn't you rather play for $1,000 once than pay for $250 4 times.
Well, I mean, there's that's a tough question.
I know it's about numbers, about getting out there.
It's also, it's about being seen too. So you want to be in front of as many people as possible. But I get what you're saying too, because you don't want to be diluted. You don't want to be like, I'm not going to go this weekend. She plays every weekend. I can go see her, next weekend or whatever. You want to create that demand.
But that's what happens. When you play for that $1,000 and that 500 people, you're probably playing 4 times a month for the 100 people.
Or less.
Yeah. So how many more people are you getting involved with? Even if you doubled that, even if you played 1 time for 500 people, or you played 4 times for 750 people, it's in small bites. It's all small bites. And you're not able to work on your craft.
That's true.
I have talked to several really good performers now, just saying owner of the Boardwalk, it gives me a little bit of clout. I don't know why, but it does.
It does.
And people will talk to you and they'll tell you, he goes, I don't do this every month or 6 weeks. And if I do, I'm going on tour, it's outside of that geographic area of 25 miles radius, which is 50 miles across. Put yourself in the middle, 25 and 25. Yeah. So it's 50 miles. And we do marketing specialty in there. And so it's a different market every time. That's when it makes sense to go on tour. But if you're going to play in your local and geographic area, there's no reason why you need to be going to, Nashville and then play Scott's bar, then Tom's bar, then Fred's bar, then Mary's bar, then Sally's bar, and you're playing all week long, trying to get that hit. And I think you don't have enough time to market yourself, and they don't have enough time to market you. And
that's probably part of the problem right there too. Is you're putting the venue in a weird situation where they're trying to market you and get people in their establishment, and they got to pay you. They got people to pay. And when you're everywhere, again, that goes to, I'm not going to go this weekend. I'm going to go see him over here.
Right.
Whatever. So you do. I get it.
And then it's like, Boardwalk's charging $15 for a door, and they're going to be playing at so-and-so for free in the park.
Yeah.
We'll just go see him there.
Well, yeah, exactly.
You dilute your interest on that too. When you don't have a door, and I understand there's the great concerts in the park and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong
but you got to make yourself a marketable, an asset, and something that people want to go see.
Yeah.
And something new and fresh that you're continually working on all the time. Because I tell you what, the bands and the solo artists of 25, 30 years ago had a whole lot tougher than the artists and bands now that have all this media at their fingertips that they can be utilizing to help themselves.
I think there is something to be said though, that it also, I'm not saying it's harder, but I do think for bands, because of the media, it is a little bit harder to break through that clutter to get seen, because every single person is putting, and it's not even people anymore now too. It's also AI. Like you have to be better than a computer, and then you have to be better than this algorithm who's going to push out this other band. You have to figure out the game and the way it works.
You really think so?
Yeah, it's difficult. I do think so. It's really, and looking at podcasting, okay, let's just use that for example, because that's my specialty. There's millions of podcasts out there. And in order to break, and most of them don't get past 5 episodes. And in order to break through,
we're on number 6, 7.
Oh, I actually think we're going on number 8.
Right there you go.
We're killing it. We're doing a pretty good job, and we have people who are listening and watching, and that's what matters too. But in order for people to get noticed and recognized, they got to break through that clutter of other podcasts. So it's the same thing with musicians too. It's really hard. But like in the 80s or before all this technology existed, you had, if you were a good band, I'm not talking about like local bands or whatever, but if you were a good band and you had some people behind you, you had a machine that can help you get bigger. I'm not saying that machine doesn't exist now for those really good bands too, but I think there's a difference. I think there's just either way it's difficult, and yes, it is just as hard back then to break through because you didn't have that access to that media, which I get what you're saying, because it's harder because you can use that, but there's just so many. It's just this weird balance of trying to break through all these fucking people who are trying to do the same thing as you, whereas back then it was like there wasn't everybody trying to do the same thing, but you had no way to get it out there, right? Is that kind of what you're saying? Nope. I'm kind of all over the place.
I don't think so. I think you were like you went off the beat. No, I hear what you're saying. I don't think it's any different. I think the classes of what you do are different, but I think per capita, I think we're right on that same. We're on that same glide slope.
Okay.
I think if you're a band, you had to get to that person. You had to drop that cassette off. You had to do those things in order to get into that machine. I think there are more machines now than there were ever before because there's so much other talent. And the way media streams have worked is that now there's more value in having many different artists available at your fingertips. Right? Instead of going down to the Tower Records and picking up, oh my God, the album. I remember having to go, the album's just hit and running down there.
I remember that too, man.
Getting that album.
There's something so exciting about
and
that too.
Now it's a download.
Yeah.
And so I went and spent $11 for a vinyl. And right now you can download that song for $1.29.
Yeah.
I think it's easier if you are persistent and consistent. If you hone your craft, it's like shooting a gun. You're not a very good shot if you do it once a month. You're a great shot if you do it once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. I know when I go shooting, I haven't shot for a while or I have shot for a while. When I shoot consistently, I tell you what, you better not be in my crosshairs.
No, dude, you're 100% right.
Yeah, but so I think it's easier. Personally, I think it's a little easier now if people use they got AI, they got the next best thing. Quit playing on this and use it as a resource. And if you're not using it as a resource, put it down. The fuck down.
Yeah.
Okay. Now
that's a big distraction for people.
It's a huge distraction. If you look on, oh my God, I was on this thing for 6 hours today. What was I doing? I was answering emails and doing this and posting stuff and everything like that.
With me, I grab my phone, it's all work.
And my kid's like, yeah.
Other than that, kids are just brain rot scrolling on fucking TikTok.
And TikTok is a resource, but for a kid, oh yeah, you get noticed, you get this, but they're not resources for you to make a living. They're just a mouth. Okay.
They're just TikTok?
Yeah. They're just a mouth.
Sure. Yeah. Now, this is spread the word. Spreading
the word. Now, getting the hype enough to have somebody come buy a ticket.
Exactly.
That's where the end result. That's why that's powerful. How did we do it back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s? That's what I was born in the early 60s, so yeah, I'm an old guy. But I remember when you had to go door to door. People don't even know what grassroots efforts are. Grassroots effort when you go into door to door, face to face, mano a mano. People hide behind this. You know what I say my best contact is either see me face to face or make a phone call.
Yeah.
Okay, because I get 150 emails a day. Some are great, some are not. And then I get text messages. Some are great, some are not. And then I have bands that hit me up on Instagram, and I won't answer those. That's not the way you communicate with a venue. The way you communicate with the venue is you get me on the phone or you go online and you fill out all your stuff and submit it to us and follow up. Follow
up is the key.
You think that because you set it and forget it ain't a fucking turkey.
No.
That you can set and forget it and it's from Ronco for $14.95 and away you go. And that's probably dating me as well.
No, that's pretty funny.
But you have persistency, consistency. That wins you the race. Those two things win you the race. I don't care if it was back in the 60s, 70s, or if it's here in the 21st century.
Yeah. No, the grassroots thing I think is really important too. And I don't think a lot of people no bands really do that. And it pisses me off because I think about there's this band, and I'm not a fan of this band. I just know what they did. And it's this band called ICP. And I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. So those guys are from Michigan. And they would come like the Detroit area, and they would come down to where I went to school, which is Cleveland area. They would drive down and be at my high school and high schools around us handing out demos to us high school kids. And I'm like, what is this garbage? I'd throw it away and I'd come home, I'd have a fucking tape and I put it in. I was like, I don't like this stuff. But my other friends did, like, oh my God, did you get that tape from those dudes? I'm like, what, that ICP guy? And they're like, yeah, it was so good. And so they did that and they built they have look, they may not be Metallica or whatever, but they have a pretty good empire and they're doing really well. And they started off completely grassroots.
Yep.
100%.
So here's a case in point is that CDs, cassette tapes, whatever it was, were never listened to by yourself. Now, Spotify, when you drop Spotify, people listen to them by themselves because they got these earphones in, right?
Yeah.
that's the total difference. They're handing out those things, knowing that if you don't like it, and you play it and you don't like it, there's gonna be somebody else around you.
Let me get that. I'll take that CD. I like it. That's good.
Let's and that's that kind of genius. Again, grassroots. How many people are doing? We had a couple bands in here that had CDs, and they were handing CDs out. They were signing CDs.
That's awesome.
That is respectable.
Hell yeah. You think people don't still listen to CDs? People still like CDs.
They do.
And even if you don't have a CD player, people just, there's this novelty, there's this nostalgia to a CD and holding it in your hand. Like, hell, if I was in a band, I'd be putting out tapes.
Yep.
I would legit have cassette tapes. And maybe not have a cassette player, but I would put out tapes just
and
because.
And you get a free boombox with every cassette tape, you know?
I mean, sure, why not? That'd be cool.
They're probably 10 cents now, but no, 100%. I believe in that then and now, the grassroots effort. The people that get to play here, the people that I was skeptical about that actually felt like, hey, they were the hounds. And I didn't make them play for free. Well, if you want to play here, you're going to play for free. I've had some Battle of the Bands, and they come in, and then they want to open up for a big person, and they just can get to put that on their resume. That's one thing, because we're spending thousands on the head. That's different. But even then, I give gas money. I mean, even then, I want to make them feel like they're worthy, they're good. So you give them something. But again, I'll drive across town to buy a product from a nice person than to pick it up next door from an asshole.
I'm right there with you.
Okay.
Totally.
My meaning is be nice, be courteous, and don't be millennialized. Okay.
What do you mean by millennialized?
Well, because I think millennials are probably one of the worst generations out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm not a millennial. I'm like outside of that. So
because they grew up in a anti-respect mode.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not saying all millennials, and I know a lot of millennials
that
are very
nice.
He's
talking shit.
I know. I know.
He's pissed off every band in Sacramento.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
But then you meet those exceptions to the rule, okay? Not everybody is millennialized, which weren't a millennial before, but they end up having those traits.
Yeah, no, you're right. No, you're right.
That's all I mean.
It's a real thing, though. You're not saying anything other people don't know.
But I'm not saying all millennials are this. I'm just saying that people get millennialized, right?
Yeah, it's true.
And they lose what it is about. It's not you. I want to get respect first before I give you any respect. And that's the wrong way for this whole world.
Do you think a lot of these bands have like this, there's like this level of entitlement? Like they feel like that they are entitled to play at the boardwalk. They're entitled to, a certain amount of money. And like, dude, who even are you?
Yeah. Yep. And you know what? I'm not opposed to, having that confidence.
Sure. Confidence is one thing.
And that cockiness, but know when to turn that off.
Yeah.
Know when that you need to have numbers to back what you're saying. It's like I always say that, numbers don't lie and liars don't know numbers. Okay. And what I mean by liars don't know numbers is that they're going to overinflate stuff or they don't have enough to back it up. And you don't fake it till you'll make it. That's the worst statement in the entire world. You stand by and say, hey, I only got one. Because next time you're going to say, I got two.
Yeah.
I got 3, I got 4, I got 10, I got 12. But you got to start at 1. And if you're not humble enough to say I'm starting at 1, you're not going to be worth a shit at 100. It's just not going to happen.
Makes sense.
All I'm saying is you can be whoever you want to be. Be cocky, arrogant, whatever you want to do. But know when to turn that on and turn that off when you want to make your point with a different person that has a different perspective. That's it. Mm-hmm. I don't have all the perspective. I don't say nobody can play at the boardwalk. I don't say not anybody can play at the port. Anybody can play at the boardwalk in the right mindset.
Yeah.
Anybody. Anybody. Genre aside, boardwalk was built on, heavy metal and emo and scream stuff,
which is
and
all
hard
great music,
rock and roll and everything like that. And we're broadening that. But it doesn't mean we're going to become a country bar, and it doesn't mean we're going to become a rap bar.
But it also doesn't mean you guys are turning your back on
Correct.
Those. I just want people to understand that too. It's like
correct. It's just it's a longer stretch for us. It's going to take us more to get there. But we're willing to fight the fight with them if they want to partner up with us and come on the stage and market themselves and go out there and sell tickets if they have to, and knowing that we're putting marketing and we're selling tickets online, and I'm doing a radio show, I'm doing a podcast, I'm out there on Fox 40, I do videos on regular basis, for this.
You do a lot.
And so
you do more than any other venue in Sacramento.
And our numbers are getting there.
Your numbers, I see them. I know that they're getting bigger.
And I'm trying to be patient with those.
It definitely takes time. But what you're experiencing, and which is, I think, incredible, is organic, real growth. Well, that's a really hard thing to get nowadays.
And we started, and literally we had the Boardwalk name was neither good or bad. And we started from scratch 3 years ago. And this is where we are. So just think where we'll be in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So we may be in the middle slice right now, or the low middle slice, but make no mistake, we're going to be on top.
But you started off at the bottom slice, and now you're on that middle slice, and you're seeing it grow. Like, dude, in 2-3 years, you're going to be in that middle top slice, and in another, you hit that 5-year goal, you're going to be who knows where.
The bands that played here for a paycheck, shame on you, but I understand why you did it. The ones that played here to get paid and perform have to understand that for Sarah and I to keep the Boardwalk, to grow it where we have, has been a huge cash burn.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we've given money to the community because we say we will when we make money. But when we don't make money, and that's been on several occasions, we take it out of our pocket to make up the difference because we want to make sure everybody gets paid, right?
Yep.
But we're not going to take it from one and saying, oh, we only made this, then we didn't make, so we can't give anything to charity. We made $1,000 at the door tonight. We gave $1,000 to charity. The next night, we lost $1,000. We didn't take that away from the community. We took $1,000 out of our pocket because the onus is on us to make every show successful.
Yeah.
Not just part of them. And we're learning too. I've made so many friends, and I made a few enemies, and I apologize to my enemies because that's my naiveness with the business and knowing really, maybe you were showing me the guiding light and you didn't really see it.
Sure.
I was thinking it was more like a freight train at the end of the tunnel coming at me instead of really seeing the light. And I have there are errors in my ways, but I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm old. I'm stubborn, but I still have to pull the trigger on every show, and I still have to make sure that there is money on every show to make things work. So sometimes I'm going to ask a band to make less, and sometimes they don't have to make less because we got a bonus at the end. Nothing is perfect, but we will never knowingly screw a band.